Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome to the start of a brand new series and something I've never actually done before here on YouTube. So we are going to be starting up a 33 team expansion draft series with a custom team that doesn't actually exist. And it's also going to be a little bit of a twist. We are going to be doing a draft to glory series with this team, which means we could only draft players and we cannot make any trades, we can't make any signings, all that type of thing. So it's going to be a very fun series, I think, for sure. It's definitely going to take a long time for us to be an actual contending team and whatnot, but hopefully we could actually get to win a Stanley Cup with our team that we're going to be doing. Okay, so let's set this thing up. So we're going to do 33 team expansion draft, and we're not going to actually, like, the expansion draft, I'm pretty much just going to be signing people or picking up people that have 1 year left on their deals just so we could fill up our team. But most of those guys are just going to head right to free agency right away. Well, all those guys are going to hit the free agency right away, and we're not even going to pick them up. We're going to be picking up the worst overall players and then replacing them with our draft picks that we have from each and upcoming season. This might be a really fast-paced series to an extent because basically each episode I'm going to be simulating an entire season, and then the episode afterwards would be just the draft. So basically you guys would come into effect when you want me to pick certain players in the draft and all that type of thing, because the draft is obviously the most important part. But then basically when we're simulating through entire seasons, we're not going to be making trades or signings or paying attention to any trades pretty much throughout the season. So I'm going to be like simulating an entire season consecutively, and then we'll have the off season in the next episode and so on and so forth. So we'll probably get the year like 18 pretty quick, and hopefully our team is a competitive team by pretty late into this, well, at least competitive by, like, I'd say like year 15 or something like that, because it might take a while, because we're just going to be a really crap overall team unless we draft really well, which hopefully the draft lottery is in our favor when we start the series a lot. So we're going to select a previously created team, because I did create a team. You guys could already tell by the thumbnail. We are going to be taking control of the Houston Sharpshooters, who is a custom team I made. I think it's kind of an interesting name for a team, and also our logos and jerseys look pretty cool, which you guys might have seen in the thumbnail already. But I will show you guys that as well in this episode. So we're going to be taking control of Houston, and we are going to be naming this Draft to Glory, because this is basically what this is all about, just building up via the draft, which is probably one of my favorite things to do, especially when we're drafting like EA generated kind of guys. So now that it exceeds that, so we'll just go DTG, I guess, because it's a draft to glory, so might as well. Okay, and yeah, we're going to be taking control of Houston. We're not going to customize our AHL team because I don't really care about the AHL that much. But yeah, basically we play at the Toyota Center, which is where the Houston Rockets play in the NBA. Just in case you guys wanted to know, I'll show you guys probably pretty much everything with this team as well once we get into it. So we're going to take control of Houston, and we're just going to continue. We don't care about the AHL really. And it automatically puts us in the Pacific Division, but I think we should be technically in the same division as the Dallas Stars to an extent. So I am going to be moving Arizona over to the Pacific Division, I think. Yeah, I'm going to move Arizona over to the Pacific Division, and that way we could have rivalry games with the Dallas Stars, which should be pretty interesting, I think. So there we go. We are now in the Central Division. We'll go continue, and we'll set this up. So owner mode is going to be turned off, I think. Contract year, when it on this setting, will add an additional contract year to every player in franchise mode at league creation. No, thank you. Salary cap is going to be on still. Head coach edit lines is not going to be on. Player morale is going to be on still, I think, except for team meetings. CBU trades obviously on. All that stuff is good. And expansion draft exempt. Seattle will be exempted from the expansion draft. I guess that kind of makes sense. So we'll leave that on, even though I could turn that off. And we'll go into our rules and settings here and get this quickly set up, because we do have an expansion draft to do, even though all those guys are literally going to be dropped to free agency, like I said, right away. And then we're going to be picking up the worst overall players. And then next episode, which you guys will help me with, is going to be probably the draft. Or maybe I might do the NHL draft in this episode already. I don't know. but we'll see how much time we have when we get to it. Maybe I'll do the draft next episode just so you guys can kind of get a feel for what this series is all about. So we're going to turn this up to full sim a little bit. That's all good to go. Draft pick ownership is good. Trade difficulty is going to be put to hard, even though we're not going to be making any trades. The AIs are going to be making plenty of trades probably, but we are not going to be making a single one. So I might even turn off like trade notifications and stuff just because that will get in our way a little bit. That's good. Yeah, I think that's all pretty much set up properly. Trade offer notification, we're going to turn that off. And I don't really care about the head coach firings as well. We need to find ourselves probably a pretty good coach for when we start drafting players that actually matter. And then also, hopefully, we draft pretty well. Morale meetings are going to be turned off. And I think that's pretty much that. We'll turn off blockbuster trade notifications as well. Just because we don't really care about anything else other than drafts and building this team up to being a championship team. We are going to turn the injury occurrence down quite a bit. I could turn off injuries, to be honest, but I don't really know if I want to do that. So I'm going to just turn this down to like 8, so we probably won't have that much injuries in this franchise mode, but I think it just makes more sense because with the draft to glory, we just want to get our team up into speed. Like if one of our top players ends up going down with an injury, it'll be pretty devastating for the entire team probably. So that is all set up and good to go, I think. So let's start it up, and yeah, then we'll get into the expansion draft because that doesn't really matter. And then we'll have to take a look at what is available in the first year draft, which I believe it would go to the previous year draft. So we might have picks from the 2021 NHL draft, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a look at the draft class. Let's see. Okay, so there's a medium franchise right out of the gate, which would definitely help us out. So, okay, a lot of it's EA generated, guys, which is good. So, with our Draft the Glory series, like I said, everybody is just draft picks that we pick up for our team. So, if we can get the first overall pick in year 1 and get a franchise defenseman, I think that's a really good way to start off this team. If not, there's a lot of elite players that we could also build up around. So, I think this is going to be a good first-year draft for our team. And then hopefully our first season is pretty terrible still, so we could keep on adding good prospects in, and hopefully we could have a playoff run eventually pretty soon. Well, probably not for like 10 seasons, but still. Okay, so let's advance to the expansion draft and get this out of the way. Well, I figured I'd take a moment to welcome you to Houston Sharpshooters franchise. You have a plate full of upcoming, with the upcoming expansion draft, but I'll touch base again in a few days before the draft itself, and after I get a sense of who's available for each team. It's going to be interesting to see who's available, but like I said, we're just going to be taking guys on one-year deals whose contracts will head to free agency right away. If they end up being too good of players, then we will have to probably just play them in the AHL or something. So we do have first overall. Wow, we moved from 3rd to 1. So I don't know if the game is rigged to make you automatically get first, but we do have the first overall pick, followed by Anaheim, Buffalo, and Seattle. So that is nice to get the first overall pick because we are going to be getting a franchise defenseman to start off the series, which hopefully he could help our team out quite a bit. Obviously, the first few years are going to be pretty terrible, but hopefully eventually we are a contending team. So yeah, we're going to get stuck with that Marquardt dude with that first overall pick, which is good. It's weird because the scouting rank almost has him at number 2, but he is going to be a pretty good player to add with that X-Factor abilities and all that. And he's looking like a two-way defenseman, so that's also pretty good. Because if it was a defensive defenseman, I don't know if I would really like that as much. But yeah, I think we're going to have a pretty successful first-year draft. I might end up doing the NHL draft in this episode as well. And then we'll start up like the season simulation. We'll sim the entire season in the next episode if I end up doing that. So let's get into the expansion draft and get this out of the way because this might take a little bit. We need to have 14 forwards, 9 defensemen, and 3 goaltenders, okay? Yeah, that sounds good. We're just going to be taking guys on one-year deals that will go to free agency right away. So who has one-year deals that's pretty terrible that we could just drop right away? Who is the worst one-year deal available? Mr. Cody Curran. We'll just take him because why not? All these guys are going to hit the free agency probably, so it's all good. The worst one-year deal on the Coyotes. is going to be Mr. Bonkanji Amama. So we'll just take Amama. Keep on taking who we could get that has 1 year left. Jake DeBrusk, but we need the worst guy, which in this case is going to be Linus Arneson. We might not actually have to drop some of these guys to free agency right away, but I don't know. But we're trying to do a draft to glory, so we definitely want the worst overall players. That's why I'm saying we should just wait till free agency to pick up all the worst overall players. Andrew Ogilvy, we'll take him. This is going to be a terrible team out of the gate if I kept this team together, which I don't think I'm going to. Like I said, I'm just going to probably sign some free agents, because we're allowed to do that for the first year to get all those like worst possible players. Like they'll basically, every year we can do free agency, but we were basically just able to pick up the worst overall players to fill voids that we don't have. So that's basically what we would do. Okay, let's continue to get some 1 year deals in here. Worst available is going to be Eric Jelna, so it gives us another defenseman. That's good. We have 3 defensemen already. What do we got here for 1 year deals in Chicago? The worst available is Andrew Shaw, whose contract is technically not even, like, he doesn't even play anymore. He's just, like, retired, so I'll just take him anyways. 1 year left. Let's see what else we got here. It's good that it sorts it by overall as well. So we will also take Nick Henry. Actually, Nick Henry has potential, though. I'll take Keaton Middleton, why not? Because they're like the same overall. Gives us another defenseman. I don't want to sort by age. 1 year left. There's a 62. Calvin Thurkoff, we'll just take you. He's an RFA, but he's just going to be dropped right away. What else we got here? We got Nicholas Hansen, so we'll take him. You know, this team might actually be pretty terrible without us even letting these guys go, but like I said, I think we need to see if there's any worse players in free agency first. Just because we want to have an actually authentic draft to glory where our team actually simulates bad too. Okay, so we're at 6 and 9 defensemen, so we should start adding forwards and goaltenders pretty soon. Because I don't want to get stuck with a good goalie. Looks like we have to take somebody with some potential. Yeah, looks like we're going to be stuck with Ostap Safin, but he's also going to just go to free agency even though he's an RFA. And other 1 year deals, what do we got? This is like the first ever draft to glory I've done on YouTube, so I'm hoping that it runs pretty well. What else we got here? LA has Austin Strain, we'll take him. We're almost full on defense, which is good. Get that out of the way early. 1 year deals. We got Will Bitton, we'll just take him. Another guy that's probably an RFA. We should take a goalie. So let's see if there's any goalies in Montreal. There is Michael McNiven, we'll take him since he's not a good goalie. And then we will take the next worst player for the Predators, which is going to be Anthony Richard. Yeah, a lot of these guys are going to be probably RFAs, but they're all just going to be dropped. Oh, well. The next worst from the Devils is going to be another defenseman or forward. We'll probably just take Brian Flynn, because why not? Former Sabres legend, you know, Brian Flynn. From the Islanders, we're going to take Mr. Grant Hutton as our last defenseman, which means now we just need forwards and more goaltending. So let's take a look and see if there's any goalies. I guess we'll just take Adam Huska. He's just going to go to free agency, like I said. From Ottawa, is there another goalie we could just drop? Not really. Let's see what else we got here. Worst overall for forwards is going to be Parker Kelly. We'll just take him. Yeah, I might end up doing the actual NHL draft in this as well, and then basically next episode you guys could give me some predictions for what you think our first year is going to go like, because it's going to be probably pretty terrible. And then, yeah, let's see, David Case, he's not that good. We need one more goalie still, which in this case we'll just take Adorio, you know, he's an RFA. We're just not going to qualify any of them. And next one is Mr. Halbigiwux, or however you pronounce that last name. What do we need? We need another center and 2 more right wingers. Okay, another center and 2 more right wingers. Who's the worst center that has a 1-year deal? Or right winger? Toropochenko. But I think I'm going to just take Nathan Todd because he's older. And he doesn't have the potential. And then in terms of other right wingers and centers, we'll probably take Sean Day as a defenseman, maybe? No, we'll take Lipanov. And then we just basically, it's his finished draft, so I guess we can't draft from all these other teams. So actually, never mind. I thought it just, never mind what I was just saying. Okay, that was kind of weird. We do still need a right winger, and then we get extra picks as well. Who's the next worst right winger? Curtis Gabriel will take you. And then we got 4 extra picks that we could just take whatever. But we'll just take any random player with 1-year deals that are low overall. Doesn't really matter what position. Devontae Stevens, give us another defenseman. And then we'll go to this. Let's see, we got Martin DeZerkles, former Leafs prospect, I believe. And then for Washington, we will also take, we'll take Snively, because I don't even know who that is really, or Snively. And from the Winnipeg Jets, we'll take with 1 year left. We'll take Mr. CJ Sousa, or yeah, Seuss. I think that should be good enough. We should be able to finish the draft, right? Yep. Good, perfect. We picked up players all with 1-year deals. These guys are not going to be on the team next season, but that is our expansion draft. Now we are going to advance to the actual draft itself, which it says we could do draft interviews, but I don't really need to do those yet. But let's advance a day to the actual draft. And let's pick our, we're going to already do the draft, might as well, because like I said, next episode we could just basically, well, we might end up filling the voids of what players we have and might sim to the start of next season in this episode already, but basically that way you guys can give me some projections for how you think our first year is going to go, but it's probably going to be a pretty bad first season. So let's get into this first ever NHL draft that we have. There will be another one in 2 episodes because like I said, next episode we're going to sim an entire year. So easily with our first pick in franchise history, we're going to take Braden Markord, a nice franchise defenseman. Got kind of lucky with that, to be honest. So welcome aboard, Braden Markord to Houston. He's going to be a 77 overall franchise, so that's not actually that high up of an overall for a starter. I like for a franchise player, but this guy's got some good stats, and he should be able to help us out offensively a lot. So that is a really nice pick still. He's going to be in our lineup next season, as are all our draft picks. And we're going to have to basically sign really low overall players to fill the voids that we don't have drafted yet and stuff like that. So let's move to our next pick at number 36, which is my favorite number. So maybe it's going to be a lucky pick here. We could go with the goalie already. That might actually not be a bad option. Oleg Kaminsky. Or there's Vyacheslav Semenov. I think I got to go with the goalie, because we got to get ourselves a goaltender. Obviously, the real prospects I don't really like that much. So Oleg Kaminsky, also welcome to Houston. Give us a nice goaltender prospect. He only has backup potential, but at least that gives us maybe a solid goalie for the future. Well, he will be in the NHL right away. And then we go to pick 69. So this is probably the meme pick here. We could go with Nikolai Svitov. He might be the best option. This is where it kind of gets a little bit nerve-wracking in Draft Glories, is when you have to actually figure out who's a good late-round pick. Like, hopefully none of these guys are terrible players, but yeah, we're going to just take Nikolai Svitov just in case. Might as well add more defensemen. He's medium top 4. That's pretty good, actually. That's pretty much something we need. Obviously, a 50 overall is not that great, but if he develops well, which he might end up developing pretty well because he's going to be on the NHL team right away, that's a pretty solid pick because he has potential. And that's all that matters, is potential with these teams, pretty much. What else we got here? Probably would rather go with an EA generated guy, to be honest, but I don't know if there's going to be any that are good because most of these people are real players. So I don't know how good Cameron Butler is. I think he's like a top 9. I could be wrong. 4 years ETA, 5 years. I think we got to go with Dylan Robertson, so another defenseman, but I think building this team from the defense out is not a bad idea considering we got a franchise defenseman. He's a high HL top 2, which is not bad, I guess. He might end up being something okay, like he might be like a 70-something. UC Lutnin might be a low top 4, that might not be a bad option. Maxim Alexiev might also be a low top 4. Or we could go with a Ford and Edgar Cruz. Well, I'm kind of leaning towards maybe getting a Ford, but he's probably like an HL top 6. So, who looks better out of the two of these dudes? Probably Alexiev, I think. So we're going to take Maxim Alexiev from Russia. Keep adding more defensemen. Load 7th. Maybe he becomes something. But once again, he's going to play in the NHL no matter what happens. And all these guys are going to get signed right away. Or we can wait and see if they develop, because the first year doesn't really matter that much. But some of them we might put into our system right away or into our lineup right away, especially like our franchise guy we drafted first overall. The rest of his draft looks pretty bad, to be honest. Blake Bancroft, let's just take you because why not? Bottom 6 forward, maybe he becomes like a 76. That would be nice, because then that could still help out our team eventually. And are we in the 7th round already? Damn. We're flying through this first draft, but that's okay. So with our last pick, we could take Kennons, but I don't think he looks good. Let's see if there's anybody with potential, maybe like a low elite or something. This guy's definitely not a low elite, but he's not a bad overall wise. 3-year ETA, but he's 20 years old. Might not be bad to take a real player there. A goaltender with 5-year ETA. I think I might just take Kennons because the scout's recommending it to us. So yeah, let's just take Kennons to end off our first draft. He's also bottom 6, but he's a sniper. And he has some okay shooting, so maybe he will help us out offensively. But that is our first ever draft in this Draft to Glory. And yeah, basically that is that. We're going to sign all our prospects that we just drafted, I think. And then pretty much everybody that's in our contracts right now is going to be let go of. And yeah, basically then after that, we're just going to be signing low overall players to fill out the rest of our team, which should be pretty interesting. So let's advance to the re-sign stage and get this all done with. Like I said, we're going to let everybody go and sign all our drafted prospects. And then we'll take a look at free agency. At free agency, I'll probably just like go down to the bottom of the list and sign exactly what we need. So let's go to our unsigned boys first. So Mark Horde definitely is going to be in the NHL. I think all these guys should just be in the NHL because might as well see if they develop fast if we ever give them time. Like this high HL top 2, who knows, he could be like a 70-something. But yeah, hopefully we can win a Stanley Cup in the series because, like I said, it might take a while before we're actually a competitive team. So hopefully it's not too late. And we will sign our goaltender prospect as well. So there's all our unsigned guys. And we are going to let go of everybody we just drafted because we do not need them. So have fun, AIs. Go sign those players. Hopefully they help you out. Maybe some of them will end up coming back because we're going to need the lowest overall players we could possibly get in terms of free agency. Actually, maybe I should turn off morale. I'm just thinking, yeah, maybe morale. I don't know about it. Because morale might get affected if players get let go of. But maybe we'll keep it on for now because it's kind of more realistic to an extent. So all those guys are gone. We need to get rid of these goaltenders as well. So basically, I think we need 12 forwards for each, or 14 forwards for each, the NHL and the AHL. So 28 forwards. But based on what we just drafted, I'll have to try and figure out exactly what we need to sign. And it will probably need like 7 or 8 defensemen per team and at least 2 goaltenders, maybe 3 goaltenders for each system. I don't know. There we go, and that's all good. Okay, so let's advance today, get all those guys onto our team. Okay, so our roster right now, we got 1 center. Actually, wait, Is that Parker Kelly? He's still signed. Buyout player. I could buy him out. Yeah, I'll just buy him out. Why not? I can't buy him out. I mean, he's going to be playing in the AHL. I'm not going to play him in the NHL since he's not one of our drafted players. Kennens is one of our drafted players. Bancroft is as well. And we have a lot of defensemen, which is good. So basically a free agency, because we're going to set this up as well for the start of next season, because I kind of want to get to the start of next season so you guys can kind of get a feel for what our team looks like going into year 1. And then you guys can give me some projections on how you think we'll finish. So basically what we need is probably, let me just write this down. Okay, so I wrote down basically what we need, and I think we need 3 goaltenders, obviously because Kaminsky's our only goaltender. We're going to need probably 10 defensemen because we do already got 4 guys that are all going to be in our NHL team probably. And then forward-wise, we only have, technically since Parker Kelly would be signed to the minors, we technically only have 2 forwards. So we'll probably need like another 24 forwards. So let's get into free agency and sign a lot of low overall guys and fill out our roster because all of these guys, we need the lowest overall possible in the NHL, and then all our drafted guys will also play in the NHL for the upcoming season. So let's sign some free agents and go to the lowest overall possible and sort by each position. So let's just get these guys signed. So we'll sign 8 centers. Doesn't really matter what position they play for forward because we don't really care about the first few years. We just want our progress or to get some good potential prospects to develop and all that everything. So there is 4 centers, so we probably need another 4 for the AHL or the NHL, doesn't really matter, but all these guys are going to get signed up. So that's 4, 7. We need one more forward or one more center. Let's get another mode of left wingers. Yeah, this team is going to be really bad in the first few years because of all these 50s and whatnot, but it is what it is. So we'll sign all these guys. So that's 5, so we'll probably need another 3 more. We just want to make sure this team is as terrible as they can be. So that's 4, 8, it's perfect. Let's do the same for right wingers. And then defensemen, we don't need as much, and goaltending wise, we don't need as much, which is kind of nice. But most of these guys should accept because they're not going to get contracts anywhere else. A lot of them might end up retiring in the first years because the AHL other forwards and stuff like that, they usually retire at like 26 years of age. So we're going to constantly have to have like kind of busy free agencies. 3, 6, 7. We need one more. There we go. And then we'll go to defensemen. Like I said, 10 defensemen. 48 overall. Man, this is going to be a rough go for the first few years for sure. But I'm excited to see how our franchise guy plays because he probably will carry the load on defense for our team. But most of these guys are going to be probably like a negative like 80 something by the end of the first year. Maybe even negative 100. So that's 6 defensemen. We need 4 more. 3 more now. 2 more. And 1 more. There you go. Actually, we should probably turn off morale. Yeah, I think I'm going to turn off morale after this because or else like these players might lose morale because of how bad our team is performing. Because we're going to only win maybe like less than 5 games in year 1, I'm guessing. But you guys could let me know your projections and how you think this team is going to be in year 1. I'll sign 1 extra goalie just in case. So we have 5 goalies instead. And that is good, and we'll get all those guys in a second. Then we just turn off morale because I think morale being on is kind of problematic for the way this kind of franchise mode is set up. So I don't know if it's in rules. Is it in rules? Nah, I don't think so. Or maybe it is. Oh, no, that's morale meetings. Maybe I can't turn it back off. Oh well, it doesn't really matter. It's just an extra little thing anyways. So that's good. Let's continue to simulate. Let's simulate to next season, see if it already gets all those guys, because all these guys should accept. But we do have notes of who we drafted at least, so they will be in our lineup to start next season. So we should have a good enough amount of players on our team, I think, now. Let me just check to make sure. Because we should have, like, yeah, we're at 45 contracts. Yeah, we're good. Kelly's going to be sent down to the minors, but yeah, that's all good and set up. Perfect. So we're going to have a pretty terrible first season, but let's sim to next season and get our lines set up, and then that'll be it for this episode. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how this team performs in the first year, how bad they are going to be. And then obviously the draft is the most exciting part probably of this franchise mode, because we're going to be adding players to hopefully help out our team in terms of winning a cup down the road. So we actually have some good chemistry, which is kind of weird, but not that that matters. So let's go to the AHL, make sure all our draft picks are called up that we just drafted. So Mark Ward is already up, which is good. I just got to make sure that some of these guys were actually drafted by us or not. Oh, there is one that was drafted by us. Mr. Blake Bancroft needs to get called up, because I'm not going to remember necessarily all the names that we drafted. Svitov needs to get called up as well. We also got, I think there was one more. Oh, there's another one. Kennens needs to be called up. Okay, so we'll call up those 3 guys and send down the best 3 guys. So Kelly needs to be sent down for sure. And then we'll send down players that we didn't draft. So that includes Zeman. Actually, yeah, Zeman, I guess, as well. And then we'll send down Ziegler. Actually, this is send down a defenseman. Who's the best defenseman that we did not draft? It's probably, yeah, it's Langer. We'll send him down. That's good. Actually, I just realized, shouldn't I be turning off salary cap? I don't know. Because we're way below the cap hit. I don't know. I should have maybe turned off salary cap. That's good. And then goalies in the system. We got our right goalie. Yeah, I think we got everybody that we need to call up. Let me just make sure in the system again. Defenseman. Make sure none of these guys were drafted by us. That's good. And then these guys, none drafted by us. Left wingers, none drafted by us. And centers, none drafted by us. Perfect. Okay, so now let's set up our lines. And we'll go best lines here in the NHL just to see what setup is. And obviously we want to give our draft picks probably the best opportunities. So we probably want to put them on like top lines and stuff like that. So we will move Kennens to the top line. And then also we drafted Bancroft, who's a right winger. So we probably want to actually play him on the right wing, because he probably, yeah, his face-offs aren't great. So Bancroft and Kennens can play on the top line. I think those are our only forwards that we drafted, right? Because the rest of these guys are real players. Let's make sure that we have our guys in the right spots. And obviously both these guys should get power play time as well. And in defense, Mark Ward, Alexiev we drafted, that's good. Robinson we drafted, that's good. Svitov needs to go into the top 4 since we drafted him. Defense is good. And goaltending, obviously, Kaminsky is our boy. Hopefully he develops pretty well for a backup. Let's go to our special teams quickly and get in our right prospects. So I'll just take out whoever this is and throw in Kennens, because he's a shooter. So hopefully he could score some goals for us. And we will also throw in Mr. Bancroft, who actually could get penalty kill time actually instead. Yeah, maybe I'll give Bancroft penalty kill time, not power play time, because Bancroft's a two-way forward, so maybe he'll be better on the penalty kill. And that is good. So our team is good and ready to go for year 1. So that is pretty much it, I think, for this first episode. So I just want your guys' projections. Let me know down below how good you think we're going to be doing in our first season. We're probably going to be winning less than 5 games, I'd assume. I'm looking forward, though, to seeing how good Kennens, Bancroft, Mark Ward especially, Alexiev, Svitov, Robinson, and then our goaltender and Kaminsky do, because those were all our draft picks in year number 1. Let me just go to best lines down here in the AHL, if it's going to let me. There we go. So yeah, just let me know all that sort of stuff down below, and like I said, next episode we'll simulate the entire year 1, and then we'll get into the year 2 draft and stuff like that in the following episode, and so on and so forth. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.